The broadcast well today marks the launch of Texas Wine Month, and though you may not know how large an industry this is in Texas, let me tell you, it is. Over $1.2 billion is generated from the Texas wine industry for the state, and over 10,000 jobs. It's kind of a big deal. Our wine and spirits expert and founder of Dallas Uncorked, Hayley Cogill, is here to talk about a few of the premier wines of Texas. Some of your favorites.
Some of my favorites, and it's great to celebrate Texas Wine Month launching today. It's really grown. And there are over 275 just wineries, and the amount of money that brings in with tourism, the number of jobs, it's great. So embrace your Texas wines, and these are a couple of my favorites, some of the ones, and it seems like I continue to talk about these because I really think that they stand out amongst the 275, which is a lot, and so I would just encourage everyone to try any.
Ask you this really quickly: is it mostly the hill country that can grow the
high plains? So out near Lubbock is another area that does really well, which is actually where our first one comes from. Thanks for that segue. This is Macpherson. Doc Macpherson was actually a professor at Tech and really one of the original pioneers of Texas wine. Planted the first Sangiovese grapes, for instance, out in the high plains, like I said, near Lubbock. His son, Kim, actually started a winery with his name, and Doc unfortunately passed away earlier this year. But Kim has really taken this whole idea of really growing high-quality grapes, and the really key is, and I think what all of the producers that we're going to talk about today have embraced, are the non-traditional varieties that will actually do well in our Texas soils. And that is something like, we have a Roussanne, which is a white Rhone variety. So you think southern France, it's a nice warm area. That kind of grape will actually do really well here. This one, I love Rhone whites anyway. It's also your Viognier and your Marsanne. It's really lots of citrus notes with all that good stone fruit.
Ooh, I think I would like that one.
Yes, you would. And it's because it's a sister. The same Viognier comes from that same region. I know that you enjoy that one.
So would you say winemaking is like a combination between really great farming practices and almost like the chemistry that goes into the process, right? Because everyone does it a little different.
Right, absolutely. But if you really talk to any great winemaker, they're always going to say that it starts in the vineyard. And yes, there is a lot of chemistry to it, which means I would never be a good winemaker. but really, it's the winemaker that lets the fruit shine and doesn't over oak things and doesn't use yeast that could change the flavor of the grapes. Really, just allowing what Mother Nature gives you to shine through that bottle. So it's a really special bottle. It's about $18 at Specs. Really beautiful wine.
Done.
Next one is from it's Fall Creek Chenin Blanc. We talked about Ed and Susan Aller's wine a couple weeks ago. Also, Susan's a dom with me, and so this is her Chenin. And Chenin is kind of it's a Loire Valley wine. We talked about it a couple weeks ago. Great from Vouvray. Theirs is a little bit sweet. It's honey, it's citrus, it's white flowers, and so it's a really great wine. You can find it everywhere, and it's incredibly affordable. I think this is a great either aperitif when it's really hot or even a dessert wine.
I love the blue bottle.
I know, and it's really
pretty,
fun.
very different.
And what we have in our glass is from Dukeman Cellars, and they're in driftwood. It's another one of my favorites. I've talked about their Vermentino a few times on the show. I think that they have really, really excelled with both the Rhone varieties as well as Sangiovese, as well as some of the Italian varieties and some of the Spanish varieties. What we actually have in our glass, though, in addition to their Viognier, which has lots of stone fruit and lots of citrus, that white flower, white peach is something that really shines, is an Aglianico, which a lot of people might not have heard of it, but it's an Italian variety. I think it has lots of dried fruit, lots of earthiness, kind of what you want from a really, really good Italian wine. I think it's really, and very dry, so keep in mind that's another thing that a lot of these winemakers have really morphed into. When we started out, there was a lot of sweeter wines, and all of these wines
really
are
nice,
very,
though.
very dry.
It's dry, but like there's so much fruity flavor to it.
That I think you get, and a little bit of tartness. You get a little bit of kind of tart cherry that just rounds it out. It's going to be a great, great food wine. Next one is Pedernales. I've talked about them before as well. Their Tempranillo, it's an award-winning wine. This one, though, is their GSM, which is a Grenache Syrah Mourvedre blend, which is that red Rhone variety. I think their whole philosophy is so smart because their whole goal is to really let the fruit shine and let what they get from the vineyards stand out in the bottle. Little smoke, little spice, Very, very soft. That Grenache just keeps everything really soft and balanced and lovely. Last one is Bending Branch, and it is a winery. It's won some lovely awards, but this is their Tannat, and another variety that maybe isn't as popular, but it's a very tannic wine. It's a very big wine. It's a wine you want to let age and grows really well. Argentina is another region that this does really well in. It's also grown in Bordeaux. So these hardy varieties that will actually handle our heat and do really well, as well as really let kind of the fruit shine. And you know, if you love a good Italian wine or a good Spanish wine, that's the kind of variety.
Here's to Texas wines.
I know, absolutely. Happy Texas wine.
10,000 jobs.
Yeah,
Go
it's amazing,
Texas.
and the profit. Money's awesome. So
good. Okay, we are back with more Table Talk next. Cheers.